Coming up, the South Carolina primary proves huge for one candidate and crushes a pair. See who in just a few.
It's March, and you know what that means. All the basketball madness is about to begin. We've got an update in sports.
Spring is 17 days away, but who's counting? Not me. Stay tuned for weather to find out what we can expect this spring.
All that and more coming up on this Monday morning edition of DITV News. Don't go anywhere. DITV starts right now. Good morning and thank you for tuning in. I'm John Ross. 2020 presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg is no longer in the 2020 presidential race. Yesterday evening, Buttigieg announced he is dropping out after a fourth-place finish in South Carolina. He won the Iowa caucuses to open up the primary elections, but said he no longer feels confident in his ability to win the bid after New Hampshire and South Carolina. Buttigieg won less than 5% of African-American votes, which is a majority of the Democratic electorate in South Carolina. But a different candidate, Joe Biden, continues his celebration this week after winning the South Carolina primary. South Carolina held their Democratic primary election on Saturday, and early predictions said Joe Biden was a clear favorite, and those predictions were correct. Biden swept all of South Carolina, winning the most votes in every single county and totaled over 250,000 votes. That total was good for over 48% of the state. Bernie Sanders finished in second place with just shy of 20% of votes for reference. But Biden knows there's still a long way to go.
Well, I think we got a long way to go. Look, this was a big boost for us. I think we're going to do well in a number of states, but Super Tuesday we're only 3 days away, and we're in a situation where we're just beginning to raise the kind of money we thought we'd be able to raise in the front end. We've raised about $18 million this month, $5 million just since the victory or during the victory in South Carolina. So we're feeling good.
As Biden referenced, Super Tuesday is right around the corner, and we'll have a preview on what to expect from the 14 states here on DITV tomorrow morning. But not only did Pete drop from the 2020 presidential race, but businessman Tom Steyer dropped out of the presidential race after failing to meet his goals in the South Carolina primaries. This decision came after disappointing turnouts in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada. During his run, Steyer outspent other candidates on advertising with more than $200 million spent overall. Steyer spent $22 million on TV ads in South Carolina alone, hoping that persistent outreach to black voters would boost his chances. But it was not enough to pass Biden's lead.
But there's no question today that this campaign, we were disappointed with where we came out. I think we got 1 or 2 delegates from congressional districts, which I thank South Carolina for, and the people. But I said if I didn't see a path to winning, that I'd suspend my campaign. And honestly, I can't see a path where I can win the presidency.
Well, it was a beautiful walk on my way in here, just a bit chilly, but spring's right around the corner. We'll throw it over to Melissa in the weather studio with more.
Thanks, John. Winter's coming to an end, so here's the type of temperatures we can expect this spring throughout the country. The Southwest is going to have temperatures that are way above average, and as for the rest of the United States and in Iowa City, temperatures are going to be above average this spring. Now let's focus on today's weather in Iowa City. We're going to have a high of 46 degrees with partly cloudy skies and some light winds around 11 miles per hour. As we head into tonight, the temperature will drop to freezing at 32 degrees and we'll have clear skies and light winds. Now let's take a look at the extended forecast. Tomorrow will be sunny with a high of 54 and a low of 36 with strong winds around 18 miles per hour. On Wednesday, it will be sunny with a high of 55. On Thursday, it will be partly cloudy with strong winds and a high in the upper 50s. And as we get to the second half of the week, on Friday and Saturday, it will be partly cloudy with a high in the 50s. March is off to a warm start, so let's hope it stays that way. John, back to you.
Spring, March, basketball, March Madness is right around the corner. We'll throw it over to Kim in the sports studio with more.
Thanks, John, and happy March. Can you feel the madness in the air? Before the calendar flipped over, the men's basketball team got the chance to play in a rare February 29th game. Iowa hosted 16th-ranked Penn State on Saturday afternoon inside Carver Hawkeye Arena. It was a back-and-forth game until the second half when the Hawks went on a 12-3 run and did not look back. Junior Luka Garza scored 25 points along with 17 rebounds, which moved him to second on Iowa's single-season scoring list. But Garza couldn't do it all by himself. Ryan Kreiner and Bakari Evelyn combined for a total of 15 points to give the Hawks the edge that they needed. Iowa would go on to win 77-68.
Nobody's hung up on minutes, who starts. They just want to win, and they really, truly love each other. We know what Purdue's going to be, and we just, we're involved in guerrilla warfare on Tuesday night. So it's just kind of business as usual, and you better be able to handle it.
As Fran said, Iowa's final battle will take place tomorrow night at 8 p.m., and with it will be the Hawks' final home game of the season. Yesterday's game also brought back a key player that has missed the last few games with an injury. DITV sports reporter Dallas Jones was at Carver for the return and has more on the story.
CJ Fredrick made his long-awaited return to the Hawkeye lineup today against Penn State. He scored 10 points and added 3 assists in 32 minutes of play, and the Hawks got the win.
So I've had time to, get in the gym and get shots up and kind of get my fatigue or conditioning level up. So I just didn't have the game experience, but I think all the tools were still there.
Sometimes it may take a little while for a player to get back into the flow of things coming off of an injury. But for Fredrick, he made an impact from the beginning, and both coaches noticed.
TJ gives you another scorer. He's a guy that makes plays off the dribble for other people. He defends. He was terrific. I mean, he didn't miss a beat coming in the game.
He's such an elite shooter. There's more space out there. You really got to be concerned with him when he's on the floor and coming off screens, and he's very aggressive. He's a great player. We recruited him too. He's a really good player. So,
with the regular season finishing up soon and postseason play starting next week, the Hawkeyes are thankful that Fredrick's back and they're ready to make a push in March.
Reporting from Carver Hawkeye Arena, this is Dallas Jones, DITV.
The Hawks have battled injuries across the board this season, so it's nice to see them back to full strength as the regular season closes. Yesterday, the Iowa women's team finished up their last regular season game. The Hawkeyes traveled to New Jersey to take on former Iowa head coach Vivian Stringer and her Rutgers Scarlet Knights. The game got pushed into overtime, but the effort from Kathleen Doyle's 15 points and 9 assists was just not enough. The Hawkeyes couldn't close it out and lost 78-74. Even though the Hawks lost, they're going to be looking at the number 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament as they finish the season 23-6. And on one last high note, Iowa freshman Gabby Marshall had an outstanding performance even in the loss, as she had 22 points and was 6 for 10 from the 3. Look for Marshall to be a key bench player as the ladies look to make a postseason run. They start their Big Ten tournament action on Friday, March 6th. The Big Ten is one of the deepest conferences when it comes to basketball, but for baseball, the ACC is tough to beat. Tomorrow we'll break down the Iowa baseball team's weekend performance when they got the chance to go against some of the best in the country. John, back to you.
Rapper Drake dropped 2 new songs Saturday night. The 2 tracks, titled When to Say When and Chicago Freestyle, were merged into one music video released over the weekend to fans. Back in December, Drake alluded to these songs in an interview, but did not say when it would be out. When to Say When is about the mother of his son Adonis and his Billboard wins, and Chicago Freestyle is more about the lessons he's learned in past relationships, because it wouldn't be Drake without it. Drake also mentioned back in December that he's working on a 6th album that should be released in 2020. But we are fresh out of time on this Monday morning edition of DITV News. Be sure to head over to dailyiowan.com for all your latest news between Monday and Friday. For even more Daily Iowan content, be sure to check out our print edition of the news on stands now. For DITV News, I'm John Rawson, signing off.